Wildcat in the fall of 1985, majoring in physical education with a minor in science. Berg played 4 years of football under former head coach Charlie Richard. In his 4 seasons, the Wildcats picked up 33 wins against 7 losses while winning 4 consecutive conference championships. In 1985, Baker won the Sunflower Bowl, and in 1986, the Wildcats were the NAI national runner-up. In his final 2 seasons, the Wildcats reached the Final Four in 1987, and they also made the national playoffs in 1988. Individually, Mike was named first team all-conference in 1987 and 1988. Also in 1988, he was named first team all-District 10 and was a second team NAI All-American. In his 4 years, Berg started at least 1 game at every offensive line position. After graduation in the winter of 1990, he served on the Baker coaching staff for 5 years. Taking on many roles, Mike served as the head JV coach, tight ends coach, the equipment manager, and dorm director. And on campus, he taught activity classes, weight training, racquetball, badminton. While still coaching at Baker, Mike began teaching at Baldwin High School in 1993. Along with his teaching duties, he served as the assistant football coach and assistant girls basketball coach from 1994 to 1997, winning a state championship in girls basketball in '96. In 1998, Mike became the head girls basketball coach and the head football coach. He went on to coach the Baldwin High School football team for 19 seasons, making 14 4A playoff appearances, 1 Final Four appearance, and 6 quarterfinal appearances. And now, here's my video interview with Mike. Well, Mike, first of all, it's a great thing for me personally to be here with you. Congratulate you on your election to the Baker University Athletic Hall of Fame. It's so well deserved, and I appreciate this opportunity to visit with you today.
Well, thank you so much, and I'm just honored to be a part of the Baker Hall of Fame, and just very humble. So thank you so much for spending the evening with me.
You bet. I want to go back and talk, first of all, about coming out of high school. You were obviously recruited. Take us through that process. Which of the Baker coaches might you have been in touch with the most, and what was the determining factor in you coming to Baker?
Okay, well, I was not a highly recruited athlete. Coming out of high school, my favorite sport was actually basketball. And, every boy's dream is to play, college sports. And I was an average football player in high school, very small high school in Concordia, Missouri. And I was actually a better basketball player. So I'm thinking, I'm going to be able to play basketball in college, which was not true, but I thought that. And then one day I received a letter from Baker University, and it was a football recruiting letter. And I filled out the information, and the next thing you know, I'm starting to get phone calls. And after, the whole recruiting went through, or process was going on, Charlie Richard called my parents, Coach Richard, and he personally came down with the defensive coordinator, Coach Racel, to Concordia, Missouri, and sat in my living room and said, we want Mike to be a Baker football player, to play at Baker University. And after he left, my parents were so impressed with him and his demeanor and just work ethic. He talked about work ethic, and we're going to outwork the other team. And my dad said, how can you not go there? And, my dream was to play basketball, so I kept that dream for about another couple of weeks, and I said, I'm never going to get recruiting letters to play basketball. So I called Baker up and I said, I want to be a Wildcat.
How about that? That's a great story.
Yes.
Me personally, having watched virtually every game that you played in some of the most memorable games in Baker football history. Go back and tell me about 1 or 2 that particularly stand out in your mind.
Well, I didn't get to play much in this game, but it was the 1986 National Championship game in Linfield, Oregon. And we were treated like an NFL team. We were escorted into the stadium and got to fly an airplane there, and we thought we were big time, and it was a big time game. TV cameras everywhere, and probably my claim to fame and something I'm very proud of, and I actually brought a picture this evening, is I got to wear number 89. And my real number was 69. But as the story goes, Mike McCarthy, the former Green Bay Packer head coach and Baker Hall of Fame inductee, tore his knee up the week previous. And Coach Richard did not want Linford, Oregon there to think that Mike McCarthy was hurt. So I warmed up at Mike McCarthy's number. I practiced as a backup tight end that week in case he needed me, and actually got in the game for a couple plays. So it was really fun to wear his number, and I found this picture when I knew that I was going to be inducted, and I want to share that story.
That's an awesome story.
Yes.
Very few people can say that.
Yes, that you get to wear the Green Bay Packers high school or college uniform.
That's right. How about that? Well, through those 4 years that you did play, including that particular game where you lined up at tight end, you played every position across the offensive line. Take me through what are the differences in the physical requirements, the technical requirements of the positions, and in your own estimation, which of those positions is most difficult to play?
Well, I was recruited as an offensive tackle, and coming out of high school, I was 190 pounds. And I remember stepping foot on campus here and seeing 280 pounders and 290 and some 300-pound linemen. And I'm about 100 pounds lighter than them. So I'm calling my parents up that evening. I remember it like it was yesterday, and said, I don't belong here. Can you come get me? And they said, you are not coming home. And you're going to give them a chance. So I figured out I'm going to have to hit the weights. I'm going to have to start eating the right foods but to become the tackle that they wanted me to become. So after my freshman year, I left here, started at 190, left at 240, so around 50 pounds. Some of it was muscle, some of it was not. But to answer your question, I think the center position, which I played my senior year, was one of the most difficult to learn. And it wasn't difficult because I didn't know what to do with the plays, because Coach Harris was our offensive line coach. And he made it mandatory. You have to know every position on the offensive line, what they're doing for every play. And I think that's why we were so successful, because I knew what the guard was going to do on every play. I knew what the center was going to do. So moving from position to position, the mental part of it was okay. I was able to grasp that. At the center position, there was a lot of odd front defenses. So I saw a nose guard almost every week right in front of me. And I had to snap the ball and get one hand on him before he got his two hands on me, because one hand was being snapping the ball. So that took the most for me to learn. That was the hardest for me to learn. But I had we recruited. I say we. I felt like we helped recruit when we were at Baker, because they would bring the players on campus, and they brought a guy by the name of Brian Pauser from the University of Missouri. He was bigger, he was faster, and he was stronger than I was. So Coach Harris said, okay, Mike, we're going to put him at guard. He moves well, and we're going to see if you can play center. So I was either going to be a backup guard my senior year or try to win that center position. So I learned to snap, and I still snapped with my left hand. So I thought it would be an issue because I was left-handed, but the quarterback was able to take a left-handed snap. I was able to learn how to shotgun snap, and I think it was my favorite position. I got a lot of guard help. They got to combo down and help with the nose guards, and you don't have to really block as many single one-on-one blocks. But it was quite the process of getting
So
stronger.
there is a major difference in the technology.
The technique, the footwork, the punch, because the other positions you get to use two hands to really fire off. And I had to learn to use one hand, and I got pretty good at it, got better at it.
We're going to transition now from your own playing days to the fact that you're now very successful and have been for years head coaching football at the high school level. And I'd like for you to talk again about some of these methodologies and techniques that perhaps for your own coaching you've picked up in the past, maybe even from Coach Richard, versus those that maybe you've developed on your own. Can you kind of talk about that?
Probably the biggest thing that I learned from Baker University is work ethic. And I've mentioned that, but you have to outwork your opponent. And Coach Richard and Coach Harris would always say, we win games in the off season. So the off season was very important, the weight room, the off season conditioning, and so that we were in prime shape once the season started. So that's something that I've taken away from the Baker program with my teams is we have to outwork the other team in the offseason. And we're going to, we can't make it mandatory at high school level, but we're pretty close to making it mandatory. You can come in and lift, be a part of the team. We're going to get strong together, we're going to work together, and it's a brotherhood. And that was the other thing at Baker, we were a family. We didn't want to let down our teammates. When our running back got tackled and it was my guy that I missed the block, I felt terrible because, I let the team down. So we had that family atmosphere, and I try to bring that within the high school culture. But technique, running game, I use the Baker running game. It works from when I played in the 1980s. Now the formations might be different, we might be more spread out, but sometimes we're foot to foot like we were at Baker, and we're just trying to outpower the other guy. So I've kept a lot of the same plays, a lot of the same techniques that I've learned at Baker because they work.
That's really interesting. Now, as a coach, as a teacher, I'm sure you've had young men, maybe women, who envision a career in coaching later. How do you mentor a student such as that? And what are some of the things that you would advise them so that they could ultimately become very successful in the field of coaching?
I think a big thing, if you want to go into coaching, is to be an assistant. Don't just jump in and be a head coach. I was an assistant for 5 years at Berg University,
Right.
And I worked with the junior varsity players, and then I was a tight end coach for a while, and I thought I was on top of the world. Baker was winning at that time, and I thought I knew everything I needed to know about football. Went over to the high school level, was an assistant coach. I still coached the offensive side of the ball. And I thought I knew defense, but when I got my first head coaching job, I really didn't know the defensive side of the ball. I had a good defensive coordinator, but I wasn't able to help him as much as I had wanted to. So I think it's very important to know the entire game. Know the offensive side, the defensive side, even if it's basketball. You can't just, have a team that's going to be an offensive threat. You have to be able to play defense too. So that was a big thing that I learned. And I went to clinics, learned from other programs, visit other schools, go to those successful schools and sit down with coaches. Coaches, we're a fraternity. We want to help each other out. Even our rivals. I would ask a rival coach, how come you're so successful at this play? And I don't know if they would tell me all the secrets, but they would sit down and talk to me about it. And to make me, they want to help us become better coaches, and I want to help young coaches become better coaches too.
Fabulous. For the next couple of minutes, I'd like you to just express any other thoughts that you might have to those that will be in attendance this evening at the banquet.
Okay. I would first like to thank my family for representing me this evening. I wish I was able to be there with you. And throughout the process of me coaching, my wife has been the most supportive person and has always been there by my side. When I was a college coach and I was burning the midnight oil at midnight and we had a young son at home, she would put our son to bed at night, and then the next morning she would go off to work and he would be with me all day, learning how to be an equipment manager, a field painter, and how to do laundry. And then when she came home from work, I passed him on to her, and I went to coaches meetings. So there was a time that was really hard when we were first married, and she did that for me so that I could pursue my goals. So I'd like to thank you, Amy, and again, you are supporting me this evening by being there for my induction into the Baker Hall of Fame. And it's not just you, but it's both of us receiving this honor, and I thank you. I thank my children. I miss some tennis matches of my daughters for football, and she reminds me of that every so often. So, Allison, if you want to take up tennis again, I promise I won't miss any of your tennis matches. And I had the awesome privilege to be able to coach both of my sons in high school. So Drew and Chad, thank you for being, there and supportive when I was your coach. I know I was hard on you guys, and thank you for playing so hard. And also my son-in-law, Clayton Duncan, who's married to my lovely daughter Allison. He was a former player of mine. So Clayton, thank you for putting up with me as your coach for 4 years. But Baker University, I have so many fond memories of being a player here, and a coach, and a dorm parent, and an equipment manager. We raised our son for the first 4 years of his life in the Kessler Hall with 150 college freshmen. So I think he learned quite a bit at a young age, and my wife was there by my side the whole time. So thank you, Baker University, for your support while I was a player, a coach, and then when I was working for the university. I will never forget it. Thank you.
Mike, congratulations.
Thank you.
You are so deserving of this award.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
So now I would like to invite Amy, Mike's lovely wife, herself a Baker graduate and a former dorm mom extraordinaire, Amy Berg, to come forward and accept the induction plaque from President. And as she comes forward, I would invite the other members of the Berg family, former coaches, teammates, classmates, friends of Mike Berg to stand also.